in variable data types, operators, statements, TypeScript related. Already we discussed these points. Some changes are there in a variable declaration and all that we already learned. Now, after understanding this, today we will see some more points. We will see TypeScript functions. So all function concepts are same. Why we need function, what is purpose, everything is same. Then what is difference here is, what's new thing here is function declaration and expression is same. So additional concept is TypeScript function requires data type specification for function and parameters. So TypeScript function requires data type specification for function and parameters. That is one extra. Declaration and expression is same, but only one additional thing is this. That means syntactically we have function name, and here we have to define type, or you have to define void. So if it is defined with the type, you know that you have to configure return. So this if type defined, it should return value type. If type is defined, you have to define the value type. So when you write a function in TypeScript, the data type is required. If your function is not returning any value, then you make it as void. So either void or type. That is one new point. If parameters are there, if you have function with parameters also require type. Parameter also requires type. You need to define type for parameter. If you are dealing with parameter also requires type. So that is one new point. So in TypeScript, when you write function, you need to define. For example, suppose you are having so you are writing some function, then what we should do when we are writing function and demo, if you are defining a function, you need to make it as void. If you are having a function add a comma b, so they are not valid. Why they are not valid? Data type is compulsory. You mention as suppose number, and you mention as number, and the final return is number, and obviously it should return a number. A, B, it should return number. So whenever you mention data type, parameters, you have to define data type. If you are returning number, then automatically return type is number. If you are not returning anything, void. So what is new? Data type for parameters and data type for return. And you can have any type of parameter. Suppose if it is a REST parameter, what should be its data type? For example, this demo is having REST parameter. What should be its data type? What is REST parameter data type? REST parameter is a array type. So what should be the REST parameter data type? REST parameter data type is, we have to configure as either string type array or different parameters we can have. Then obviously any type array, right? But it must be array. So there is no change. REST parameters, spread operators, you learn default parameters, all are same. So only the point you mention the data type. So for example, here one point, default REST and the spread are same. Function, closure, return, recursion is same. All are same. You already learned them. No need to explain. Function closure, function return, function recursion, function currying is same. All are same. So I'm not teaching you these here because already you know them in JavaScript. What is function recursion, function closure, function currying, function callback, promise, and generators are same. So function related, all these topics are same. Function generator, function callback, function promise, REST spread operators. Only the point is make sure that you configure exact data type. Make sure that you configure the correct data type, exact data type. So if you configure the correct data type, it is simple. So for example, you have function name is params dot params. It is an any type array. All the rules and everything same. Huh? Here you mention as void or return type, depends on what you want to do. So REST parameters, spread operators, closures, recursions, function currying, callbacks, promises, generators. These are all function topics in JavaScript. All are same. Only the point, wherever you are mentioning data type, be clear about the type. You should mention the type. One extra topic is that. What is the topic? Is TypeScript function can have optional parameters, which is not possible in JavaScript. That is one new thing. And all optional parameters must be last in formal list. A required parameter cannot follow optional parameter. TypeScript can have optional parameter. That is one point. Generally, in JavaScript, every parameter is mandatory. But in TypeScript, you can have optional. Yesterday, I already showed you optional how you define. So, suppose we are having a function name parameter 1, suppose number, param1 number, param2 question mark number. Like this, we can have. Optional parameters are defined with question mark. And optional parameter must be last. A required parameter cannot be there after optional. And how to verify optional parameter is verified using undefined. Optional parameter is verified using undefined. Right. So that is parameters. Now, example I will show here. Suppose when you define function, suppose you have a product, details is a function, ID is number, name is string, price is question mark, and it is number. We can define optional parameter like this. But remember, after optional parameter, stock is Boolean, you cannot have. It will show error. That means it says that a required parameter cannot follow optional parameter. Make sure that all optional parameters are end. If stock is also optional, then it is fine. Right? So how you verify whether price mentioned or not? We will check if price. What does it means? It means that if price is defined. If price is defined, print. Otherwise, don't print. That's how we need to verify whether those parameters are defined or not. Now, what is the point? Whenever I write details, in that you pass no parameters, it is invalid. You pass first parameter must be number, second parameter must be string, third parameter is optional. If it is not optional, your function call will show error. Why? Because it is expecting 3 parameters, you are passing 2. Which one is missing? Price is missing. So what you have to do? Price question mark. It is optional. So one new thing about function is parameters and optional parameters. Data type for parameters. If anybody asks like, can a function return a function? A function can return a function. Already we know function currying concept. If a function can return function, what is the return type? Return type function only. That means you have function. Suppose you have details is a function. This function should return a function. Then you can make that return type as function type. You have a function type. If the return type is defined as function, what does it means? It should return a function. It should return a function. If it returns any number, it is invalid. It cannot return number. It cannot return boolean. It must return a function. It must return a function. Either you use shorthand or you write a function. Anything you can have. That means you can adjust. I given now already. Make sure that you mention the correct parameters. Exact data type for parameter. Right? Parameter or return type, depending on what you are returning. So if a function has to return another function, then its type is function. So its type is function. We have to define function. It can have a function. Then it is compulsory that it must return a function. It must return a function. So you can have primitive, non-primitive, and function type. So what is new is all about data types. Rest of all function topics are same. Now tell me, for example, if you are creating a function in a component, means roughly I will give, means in React.js. However, in future you will see that. Suppose I created function login in TypeScript, and what it is returning? It is returning a div. This is how we design a function in React. Now tell me, what is its return type? What is its return type? Function return type is what? What will be its return type? It is returning a function, but that function is again returning a JSX element. That is returning a JSX element. So what is finally a component is returning JSX element. Then its return type will be JSX element. Anyhow, you will see that in React later. That means when we create any component function in React.js with TypeScript as language, every function return type will be JSXL. Every component return type will be JSX element. But what is advantage is you don't need to mention. I already told you now, with value, it can recognize the type and it can set the type. That is what type inference I told you, right? So this is one simple point you should know about the functions. I hope you are clear. That means there is no much complicated changes. All concepts same. Whenever you mention parameter, mention the data type. Whenever you mention uh, return, you mention either void or suitable return type. Arrow techniques, shorthand techniques, and all other function topics are same. One extra thing is that what is it? Optional parameter. Optional parameter means you can configure function parameters as optional. That is not there in our JavaScript. It is available here. Okay. Rest of all things are same. All concepts are same. Now, next important after you know about functions, now another major concept is TypeScript, TypeScript OOP concept, TypeScript object oriented programming. We don't much depend on OOP of TypeScript for React, but it is very much important for people on Angular because they deal with a lot of classes and all. But now our TypeScript in React doesn't need much classes. But having idea is important because any project is using class components with the TypeScript means you should know these rules. Let's see what is new in OOP. In object oriented programming, first important concept is contracts. In OOP, the first concept is contracts. In object oriented programming, you should know about contract. What is a contract in real world projects? In OOP concepts, what is contract? Contract is nothing but it defines rules for any component. It defines rule for any component or object. It defines rules for any component or object. So it defines rules for any component or object. And very important is rules are reusable and extensible. Rules are reusable and extensible. They are reusable and extensible rules. So in software programming technologies, what is a contract? Contract defines rules. So what is a contract in software programming? Interface. Interfaces are called contracts. If anybody asked in any interview, what is purpose of interface? What you will tell in general? If you are learning any OOP language or you know any OOP language, if I ask you, what is the role of an interface? Then what you will say? In Java or .NET, anywhere, wherever you learned OOP language, what is the purpose of an interface? It is used to design contracts. These are architectural terms. Interfaces are used for designing contracts. That means you can force any component to be in that in specific behavior. That means you cannot design as you like. You have to design according to the requirements. You can set up certain rules. Why we need interface? Interface is used for designing contracts. Designing Interface is learner's word. Contract is architecture's term. That means a 10 years experienced, 15, 20 years experienced person will not use the word interface. He will use the word contract. Interface and all these are general terms, general learner terminology, that is. Right? That means what is the contract? How we design a contract. So interface is used to design contract. Interface is used to design contract. So I will show you the point here. For example, see, we are creating LED product, a TV, and in that TV is an object. Yesterday we learned. So this TV should have some rules, schema. How you designed the schema block? It should have ID, number. It should have name, string. That's how you define. Now, same rules I want to follow for mobile. But problem is mobile cannot use these rules because these rules that you define are not reusable. It is only for that object. How you can make it reusable? The rules that you mentioned, they must be reusable. Then how you make it reusable is generally we create an interface. I product is an interface. And this I product will have ID, which is number, will have name, which is string. Now this TV should use that I product contract. And mobile also should use the I product contract. Now you need to design according to the contract. That means ID is one. So name is Samsung TV. Samsung TV like this. Now second one, same ID is 2. So name is suppose some LG mobile something. That means here the point is both are following same rules. And what you mentioned in contract is mandatory to follow. What is advantage? I can extend the contract. Later I can put, so it needs price number. Then everywhere it will show error. That means according to this contract, every TV should have price, every mobile should have price. Yesterday, what we done, we directly defined a schema. It is not reusable. Now you have created a schema, and that is what interface is. So what is the role of interface in OOP languages? It is used for designing contracts. Contract not only for object, later I will show you, contracts are used for every purpose. Even a function can follow the contract. A class can be designed according to contract. That means you cannot design as you like. You have to follow certain rules. And rules are defined by using what? Rules are defined by using interface. Rules are defined by using interface. So here, as of now, I am using this interface for object. Later, I will show you we can use for class. How? So first thing is the rules are defined using interface. So here it can contain, it can, it must contain, contain only rules. It must contain only rules, not their implementation. It must contain only rules, not their implementation. only the rules, not their implementation. So contract defines rules. What does it means? Not implementation means number equal to 0, not allowed. You can tell what it should be. You cannot tell what is default. You cannot mention. You have to just tell the rule. It should contain ID with number. Which ID you can't tell. That is not possible in a contract. So contract defines rules and you have to design according to rules. And very important here, first let me give syntax. Interface and the contract, and here we have property and its type. Just roughly I given. So we have objects, it uses the contract. Then according to contract, you need to design. So what we discussed about contract is reusable, contract is easily extendable. Now, as we learned in the last session, so you can configure optional rules using question mark, null reference character. You can configure optional rules using null reference character. You can configure read-only rules. Yesterday already I told you. So we have an interface. Suppose iProduct. Suppose we are using iProduct. So iProduct and we can have property, question mark, and type. This is optional. Read only, property, and type. This is one is optional, another read only. What is optional? What is read only? No need to explain. Already we learned. Optional means you can skip, and read only means after initialization you cannot assign. So only initialize. After that you can't assign. Right? That's already we discussed that part. Now here see. I will give here price. So price is some value. Now, if I don't mention price, then obviously it will show error. Okay. Suppose I mentioned here rating is a number. Now it is mandatory. In TV, it says rating is missing. Property rating is missing. So I am using question mark. That is fine. That means now no problem. Now I will make price as read only. If I make price as read only, TV dot price is equal to some new price. Not possible. Why? Because price is read only. So you cannot assign because it is read only. So these basic points are fine. Yesterday we discussed it, so we know that. What is read only, what is optional, I told you. But in interview, what they will ask question like, they will ask like, okay, you said that interface is used for designing contract. and contract means rules. And how you say that a rule can be ignored? Why a rule should be optional? Rule means to follow. You are saying that it is a rule, and you are saying that you can skip rule. How that is possible? Why a contract can have optional rules? Rules means mandatory to follow. Why you have a rule optional? Now I hope you understood how experience level interview goes. Understood? That means even you are experienced, and if you cannot answer this, then what is your experience? The question is very simple, very reasonable. Contract means rules. And how you say that a rule can be ignored? And why it is possible to ignore a rule? Why they have given that facility? What do you say? If anyone asks in interview, what is the purpose of optional rules in a contract? So what is the purpose of optional rules in a contract? If anyone asks, optional rules in a contract. What is the purpose of optional rules in a contract? The purpose of optional rules. So generally, to answer this, you should know that generally in project what happens is, when you are designing a project or when you are designing a module in project it contains several modules. Every project, every module have two basic points. One is it will have an objective and it will have a goal. In real world projects, in every project documentation itself, they mention about objective and goal. Generally, you people learners will have the word project abstract. Abstract is nothing but a summary about what this project does. But actually, project has so many things, means guidelines. What is objective and what is goal? Every project will have an objective and it will have a goal. Every module also will have an objective and goal. What is difference between objective and goal? Any idea? Objective, goal. Both are different. What is difference between objective and goal is, objective is time bound, and it is mandatory to achieve. That means you must achieve and it should be within this time. Mandatory. Goal, you may or may not achieve. If you achieve, very good. If not, it's okay. It doesn't affect. For example, you may say that in project, how you will say that I can't achieve this? In a project, everything you should achieve. No, not necessary. For example, I will tell you. Suppose I have a bus ticket booking app. In this app, I have bus availability, bus availability, bus reservation means seat reservation, bus availability, seat reservation, and live tracking. We have these three facilities. Now, in this app, the availability of bus is not working, then your project fail, because that is the primary thing. It should work, otherwise there is no use. So you can't say that availability is not working. That's 100%, it must work. Seat reservation not working, then what is the use of your app? No use. It must work. Live tracking not working, it's okay. It's okay. So is it a problem for app? No, some bus may not have GPS, they don't have live tracking. Then we have an alternative for that. So which one you can skip? Live tracking you can skip. We can skip live tracking. Is live tracking available for this bus? No. Is it a concern? Not very much. You can skip that. We have alternative ways of for that. That means every project when we design, we have certain objectives and goals. Objective you must achieve. Goals you can skip. So in a contract, goals are defined as optional. That means in a contract, the goals are defined as optional because you may achieve, may not achieve. If you achieve, good, may not achieve, it's okay. For example, a product has a rating. If nobody purchased it, it will not have rating. If nobody purchased in Amazon, you will see so many products don't have rating. Why? Nobody purchased it till now. If anybody purchased and reviewed, then it will have rating. So every product have a rating option, but for every product it will not show. Is it mandatory that every product should have a rating? Is it mandatory that every product should have a rating? No, that depends. If product is purchased by anyone, anybody reviewed it, then it will get rating. These are optional rules. That means it should be there. But whether you achieve or not, that depends. So that is the main concept. So what is the answer for this question? Why a contract needs optional rules? A contract need optional rules to design goal. To design goal. So here, what is difference between objective and goal? Goal. This is important point. Objective is time bound and must be achieved. Goal is optional and no time bound. Goal is optional and no time bound for goal. So these are simple things. These are simple points you need to understand. Because for experienced people, these are type of questions are asked. Right? So why we need an optional rule inside that? That's also reasonable concept. Huh? So I hope you understood. So a contract can have optional rules and read-only rules. Read-only rules. Next point. Another concept is you can configure rules for both properties and methods. You can configure rules for both properties and methods. Rules are not only for properties, for methods also. Because usually a class contains both data and logic. Rules can be for data as well as logic. Property contains data and methods contain logic. Rules can be not only for data, it can be for logic, how it should work, what it should return. These also rules. That means rule is not only for data, it is for logic also. And how you write, for example, here, so suppose I am adding, yeah, just I will keep this. Okay, we have a ID, name, price, quantity. Quantity is a number. Okay, total is a method. Total is a method, and what this method has to do, it should return a number. So total is not data, it is logic, and it should return number. And I need a print. Print is also a method, it is void type. That means we have rules for both properties and methods. If you want property optional, it's name question mark. You want any method optional, it's name question mark. Like this, you can have optional properties, optional methods, read-only properties, read-only methods. Read-only methods means once you define a functionality, you cannot change that functionality. You cannot assign a new functionality. It should be same. Now, according to the rule, we should have next one. Price is already there. Quantity. Quantity is 2. What about total? Total is a function. So how you write a function in object? It is a function. And why total is returning error? Because according to rule, total should return number. But here what it is returning? Here it is not returning anything. It is currently void. That means what it says. So it is void. It cannot be void. It should return number. That means what we should do, it should return this dot quantity and into this dot price. It should return quantity into price. This dot quantity and this dot price. That means it should return. So what is it? It's fine, no problem. Another point is that what is it? We have quantity and price. So why it is showing, it is saying that it may be optional. It is not error, it is just warning. It is just saying that because you give an optional, it may go null also. Right? Better I will not give it as optional. Why? Because if you are mandatorily using for a calculation, don't use it as optional. Here I will put optional temporary. Just for your example sake, right? And print is a method. And what this print method has to do, it is void type. It should print all details. Console.log, I am printing ID. This dot ID, I am printing some next line name. So this dot name, and I am printing next price. So this dot price, and I am printing quantity. And here we'll put this dot quantity. And in the next line, total is this dot total. That's it. All the details we are printing. Now just access here tv dot what print. It is going to print all the details. Now I will run this. Don't worry about these red marks, because one of unfortunate thing about Visual Studio Code is it is not a specialized editor for TypeScript. It helps you in TypeScript, but warnings also it shows in red mark. That is not good idea. Actually, it should be displayed in yellow. warnings, but it shows warnings also in red marks. Avoid them, no problem. Just tsc index.ts, then node index.js, it works fine. There is no problem in that. That means we defined all the rules, nothing but it says that, so it may be undefined. Why undefined? Because it is optional. Na? That means better what you do, check undefined or not. If it is not undefined, print. If it is defined, then don't. If it is defined, print. Not defined, then show a message saying that it is not defined. If you implement such logic, it will be fine. But no problem. This is just to understand the rule. That means what is the concept now? So you can have rules for both properties and methods. So syntactically, how you define interface name, property type, method also can be defined with type or void. Rules can be for both properties and methods. So when you define rule, it can be both for property and method. Right? So this is one example I will give. Okay, I will copy this example. Another point about interface is, I hope you understood this general concept. How to design interface, optional, read-only, and rules for both properties and methods. Another point is you can extend contracts. You can extend contracts. A contract can extend multiple contracts. Multiple contracts using multi-level or multi-level and multiple. Using the hierarchy multi-level or multiple. A contract can extend contract, and a contract can extend multiple contracts, multi-level extension, multiple extension. So we can have contracts, and a contract can extend another contract. So you can see here, so this is, that is nothing but in this example. Okay, this example, I'm creating another interface called vendor, I category, suppose category, and it has a category name. Category name is a string type. That means now this product contract can extend I category. What does it means? That means without disturbing this contract, we can add new rules to the contract. I am not disturbing the contract, but a new rule is added to the contract. How? By extending I category. That means product should have a category name also. Wherever you use product, it is showing error. Why it is showing error? It is showing error because it says that category name missing. But in I product, there is no category name. It is taken from I category. So that means here you have to mention the category name. Category name, some electronics. So I need to define the category name. Of course, you print it, that details also. Now suppose I have another contract, another interface called iVendor. So it is having vendor name. Vendor name is also a string. Now product can inherit both I category and I vendor. It can inherit multiple contracts. Multi-level, it can inherit multiple. That means category can inherit vendor. You inherit category, it will get the vendor also. All directly product can inherit all contracts. Multiple. That means now every product must have a vendor name also. Vendor name also. So vendor name, suppose some Reliance Digital, something like this. That means a contract can extend contracts. So whenever you design any component, and if you want that component to work according to certain standards and rules, then you design a contract for it. And contracts are designed by using interfaces. Remember, whatever you tell about interface is secondary. Means whatever you know about interface in OOP languages, whatever you tell about interface in OOP languages is secondary. Whatever definition you tell about interface is secondary. The primary is it is for designing contract, right? As per the industry standards. Learning wise, you tell any story about interface, whatever you know about it. But interviewers at high level are not satisfied with those general terms. That means they need the correct point architecturally why I need a interface. So we need an interface for reusable contracts, right? So that is very important. This is one basic example, and I am just copying that example. That means how it extends syntax I will give. So interface, we have A and we have interface B. This B can extend A. So interface C can extend B. This is one technique of multi-level inheritance. Huh? This is for multi-level. And you know multiple. Interface A, interface B, interface C extends A, comma B. That is multiple inheritance. Remember, these are usually huge concepts. I just given what is needed for your TypeScript. Because generally in our technologies like .NET and everywhere interface, 1 week session on interface. 1 week we conduct session on interface. It's a huge thing. Here you just had a glance of what is needed for you. Right? So this is one point about interface. What is the purpose of it? So this we consider as contracts. Huh? I will copy this example and I will paste this. This is example for contracts. In OOP, one very important is contract, right? Next important after understanding contract, second is component. What is a contract? What is a component? So actually, component defines the data and logic together as a template. Component defines the data and logic together as a template. So component defines the data and logic together and as a template. So, and here component means what? Components, component of OOP is class. Class is considered as a component. Officially, how you define a class? How you define a class? In computer programming, class is a program template. Class is a program template. That is the official point about class. It's a program template. Means a program template contains predefined data and logic, which you can customize, implement according to the requirements. So I will not go much. I will go into difference only because class and all you learned in JavaScript also. What is new in TypeScript about classes? Class configuration is same as in JavaScript. Class configuration is same. That means how you can configure class. You can use declaration. You can use expression. So its configuration is same. Its configuration is same. The declaration and expression is same. Class members are same. Class members means a class can contain property, accessor, method, and constructor. Class members are same, no change. Then what is change? What are the new things you will see in classes? I hope you people know in JavaScript classes from ES 2020. 2020 current ES is ES 16 is latest version, which is 2026 version. JavaScript current latest version is ES 16, which is 2026 version. From ES 20 onwards, 20 means 2020 onwards. ES not 2020, it is 2023 onwards. 2023 onwards, they made static keyword available in JavaScript. It was not there earlier. Earlier JavaScript don't have static keyword. Now what is new in JavaScript is static have JavaScript have prefixes and JavaScript have static keyword. In JavaScript, I am telling. That means you learned when you learned JavaScript, JavaScript can have static, non-static members. Here also same. So what is new extra is, the new is class supports static, class supports static members. So it can configure members with access modifiers. Access modifiers, we have public, private, protected. We have three access modifiers: public, private, protected. Static, non-static members are already there in JavaScript, so they are same. So access modifiers are new. Actually, in latest JavaScript, private members are defined with hash. Private members are defined with hash. Are defined, means this is all your JavaScript knowledge. If you don't have proper JavaScript knowledge, that is difficult to explain, because I can't keep on explaining all JavaScript topics again here. Time waste for me, right? So JavaScript is having static, TypeScript is also having static. JavaScript don't have access modifiers, but they have they introduced some prefixes. In JavaScript, they introduced some prefixes. In modern JavaScript, you will learn that prefixes. That means actually, roughly I will show you. So generally in JavaScript, JavaScript, you are creating a class, some demo. And in this class, suppose name is some string, that is one string. Hash price. So this is a private member. That is a private member of class. You don't have private protected keywords here. In JavaScript, you don't have. In TypeScript, we have. So here hash is private. And what does underscore stock? It is Boolean, true, false, I given. Underscore prefix is nothing but it is defining that it is internal access. It is for internal access. Underscore prefix is for internal. That means if you create an object for demo class, and through that object, you can access name and stock. Stock is marked for internal access, but you can access outside. It is just marking, not restriction. That means you cannot access price, only name stock. Why price is not accessible? Because it is a private member. That is general latest JavaScript. Everybody knows. Who is learning recent JavaScript, they knows is all prefixes are there, right? So we have static and non-static also. Na? Earlier JavaScript don't allow static keyword, but 2020 and higher version of JavaScript, it supports static. You can configure static, non-static, and you learned what is static means. What is static means? Static refers to continuous memory. Non-static refers to discrete memory. How you define static and non-static? If I ask what is static and non-static, generally I will tell you learner's definition. Static members are accessible by class name. Who asked you? Who asked you how they are accessed? Right? So what is the question? What is static? Why you are telling me how static members are accessed? Your answer should be related to what is static, not about how static members are accessed. But you will see the same definition for every learner, from every learner. What is static? Static members are accessed by class name. Who asked you that? We are not asking how static members are accessed. We are asking what is the role of static member. Static members are used to allocate continuous memory, and non-static members are used for discrete memory. Continuous memory, the memory allocated for an object will continue for the second. Discrete memory means disconnected. disconnected. These all in JavaScript you usually learn. I will show one point here. Suppose see, directly I will show here itself. So suppose you are having a class. This is demo class. In this we have a static S0 and non-static N is also 0. That is non-static. Now I have a constructor. In the constructor, I am configuring demo.s is equal to demo.s plus 1. S is increased by 1, N is also increased by 1. That means S and N are increased by 1. Static members are accessible by class name. Non-static members are accessible inside class using this. Outside class using instance. That is basic in general JavaScript also. We are using a print method. This print method will print the details. Details of S. S is equal to demo.s and N is equal to demo this dot N. We are printing the value of S and N. I am creating object 1 for demo. And through object 1, I will access print method. Similarly, I will create second object for demo and print third object for demo and print by using it. Now, I created 3 objects for same class. And see, 3 objects are using. So one memory is static memory. Another memory is what? Non-static memory. In static memory, we are having S. In non-static, we are having N. Now what happens? S equal to S plus 1 and here also N equal to N plus 1. Both are incremented by 1. Now what happens in this situation is, let's take here. Yeah. First object uses the memory. And what first object will do is, it will make S as 0 plus 1 means S as 1. And that object will use N also 0 plus 1 and after that N is 1. Now first object completed. When first object is completed, the second object goes. When second object goes, static memory is continued. This non-static is deleted. Static is continuing. Non-static is disconnected. Non-static is disconnected. That means for second object, N will be again 0 plus 1. But S will be how much? S will be already it is 1. That means 1 plus 1. For second object, 1 plus 1. Okay. Yeah, for second object, it will be how much? For second object, N will be 2. S will be 2, N will be 1. Now third object is going to use this memory. So what is static? Static allocates continuous memory. The memory allocated for first object will continue for rest. Non-static means discrete, disconnected memory. Memory is newly allocated every time. Then you will see the result of this. Let's see the result of this. So, okay. So let's see the result of this. I will run this again. And what should I run? TSC index.ts node index.js. S is 1, 2, 3, but N is 1. That means S is incrementing. Why S is incrementing? All 3 are different objects. Different objects newly allocating memory, but static is continuing. So in real world projects, if anyone asks where I should use static, So if you need continuous operations, then better use static. If you need disconnected operations, then you use non-static. Which member should be static, non-static? That depends on that requirement. For example, you are using a money payment app. In a money payment app, you are sending money to a person, to a number, phone number. Then when you are sending money first time, it is asking, please verify PIN. Your PIN. You verified the PIN, transaction completed, money transferred. To the same person, immediately within the next second, you are sending money. It will ask PIN again. Why? Just now I sent to him. Why you asking me PIN again? Because the memory allocated for your transaction is dynamic. Dynamic memory means what? The memory allocated for a transaction, memory transaction completed, memory deleted. For same person also, next transaction, again new memory. So this is bad. This is not great every time. In some occasions, for example, you opened a bank app. You are watching your account details, balance sheet, statements, and everything. Every time it will ask PIN. That is not great idea. Then there you maintain a static memory, continuous. The memory allocated for first request will continue for the next. That means in a one application, one can be static, another can be non-static. So if anyone asks in interview, what is static, what is non-static? Static refers to continuous. Actually, the word static, non-static are related to memory. Static memory and non-static memory. These words itself, they related to memory. And static is continuous memory and non-static is discrete memory, disconnected memory. Static members are used in continuous operations, non-static members are used in disconnected operations. This is not new for our JavaScript people, because latest JavaScript have static. Earlier we don't have. Earlier old versions of JavaScript then don't support the keyword static. Actually 8-10 years back, if you see, when we trained videos also, we used to explain in YouTube videos 8-10 years back, if any my video is present, already there, TypeScript related video. When TypeScript was invented and introduced, I have made a video on TypeScript in YouTube channel. It is still there. You check that. So when TypeScript newly came into market, we have a video on the TypeScript. In our YouTube channel, it is there. Check. There we might have told you that JavaScript don't support static keyword. At that time, not now. Right now, JavaScript supports static keyword. Earlier, that sentence we might have said in our videos or tutorials, saying that JavaScript don't support static. TypeScript will support static, but JavaScript supports static now. It supports static. That's not new. Then what is new? New is about public, private, and protected. And how these access modifiers work, that we'll see tomorrow. Right, in tomorrow's session, we will complete OOP concepts, right? Then we can start working with React and TypeScript. Tomorrow, majority, I will try to finish class related concept, class abstractions and all we will finish. After that, we will continue. Okay, tomorrow we'll continue.